Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to a whole new week. Tell me about your weekend. Did you spoil your man? Did you spoil your daddy, your papa? Father's Day. Yep. We grilled some steaks. DT Driver got some presents. He gave me a present on Saturday, but I'm only going to tell Paper Slut about that. It's actually a fatal paper cut, but one day I typoed it and it came out Paper Slut, and well, it sticks. So go ahead and feel free to use it. Jessica Johnson, love you too, girlfriend. There's Mama She. Wes, what the hell's going on? It's 49 degrees this morning. Feels cold. No shit, I'd be under an electric blanket. I'd have the fire pit going. Nuh-uh. Our heat index today is going to be 105. We're looking at like 94, 95 degrees. Okie Bree, she's going to actually have it worse than us where she's at. But hey, it's time to bitch about the heat. Don't worry. In a few weeks, I'm going to be complaining about my fall allergies. And a few weeks after that, I'm going to complain about possibly having to wear socks. So let's take a second and welcome your neighbor. Tell all your friends, hola, and glad you're here. All right, several months ago, we had a lot of conversation going on about Rachel Morin. Oh, we did. We did several shows, talked about it a lot in the Facebook group, and a lot of people said that the case went cold. There was no more updates from law enforcement, no more pressers, nothing from the media. There was some YouTube stuff going on. And I'm going to say this right now. I couldn't imagine, in quotes, trusting the process if I was a family member, because, you know, her family had to be extremely frustrated. Well, and I would be too. I would be. Turns out it was a very, very, very active investigation. And sometime last week, the FBI got a hold of Tulsa Police Department and said, here's the sketch of who we're looking for. Talk about an amazing sketch. And this is the dude you're looking for. Victor Antonio Martinez Hernandez. Now then, I'm going to give a warning, okay? If you are sympathetic to undocumented people coming into countries, not just America, where they don't belong, then this is not going to be the show for you. I know a lot of people say, well, what's it matter? What's it matter anyway? What's it matter? Look, because we have our own homegrown sickos. Why do we need more? We got enough problems. Seriously? I cannot imagine the pain that people are going through because of this savage. People in El Salvador, where he came from. People in California, where he assaulted, home invasions. family in Maryland, Rachel was just taking a jog on the trail, minding her own business. Did she deserve to be raped and murdered? He's still wanted in El Salvador. He's still wanted. Several of you reached out to me over the weekend and they said, when will Oklahoma extradite him? Governor Stitt does not take my calls and is not telling me. He did make a comment over the weekend that would be better not to extradite him because Maryland doesn't use the death penalty, but Oklahoma loves it. They love it better than they love mustard on their hot dog. Boy, they love it. They line them up. They send them straight down to Electric Avenue in McAlester, Oklahoma. And they are chomping at the bit. Issue is that Homeland Security and ICE is involved. So he could possibly get what's called a federal DP. That's when they drag his ass down to Terre Haute, Indiana, and make sure he's not of this earth anymore. Yep, that could happen. In some of my Tulsa Facebook groups, people were taking pictures of what was going on because it wasn't just a normal Tulsa PD coming after someone issue. Actually, DT Driver and I saw the helicopters and we were like, hell's going on? They found him over at 21st and Garnett. I won't even say anything about that area because I still have to live here. So you can see when it all started, he wasn't at the beauty supply, by the way. He was inside a bar. He denied that was his name, denied knowing English, knew nothing about the crimes. Well, they taught him English real quick. And standing outside was ICE Patrol because they were waiting on his ass. Well, funny story, I didn't know this until this morning on our local news. When they were in the bar, they found someone else that's not supposed to be here. So ICE got his ass too. They said, hey, you're not supposed to be here either. Hell are you doing? Go on. We don't need this. All right, let's rewind a little bit. Actually, you know what? I'm on a roll. I'm going to start with this. The fact that the Washington Post even put this out blows my mind. Hang on. Yankee Kyle said, Brooks, I need prayers for my father. He's going to have ankle surgery on his 38th wedding anniversary, what happens to be July 26th. Prayers up, Yankee Kyle. You know it. What's wrong with his ankle? All right, so let's start with this. And there's Rachel. You know, this guy was laying in wait. He was hiding and just waiting for his prey. Reminds me so much, well, of many cases, but one that rings a bell is Eliza Fletcher. You know, people preach all the time. Watch your kids. Don't take your eyes off your kids. Hey, ladies, don't take your eyes off yourself. You want to go jogging? You want to go swimming? You want to go fishing? You want to go shopping when the lights are not on? Take a buddy. Please take a buddy. Officials tie Rachel Morin's murder case to U.S. immigration policies. Well, this isn't going to be good. Let's see if it'll let us listen to it.
This news story was written by Dan Morse. Officials tie Rachel Morin murder case to U.S. immigration policies. A fugitive from El Salvador, who authorities say had fled to the United States after killing a young woman in his home country, has been charged in the murder and rape of a Maryland woman, law enforcement officials said over the weekend. Victor Martinez Hernandez, 23, remained held without bond Sunday. Officials recently linked him through DNA to the murder of Rachel Hannah Morin last year, according to Harford County Sheriff Jeff Gaylor. Martinez Hernandez had crossed into the United States unlawfully in February 2023, Gaylor said, and was known to have spent time in Maryland, Virginia, Los Angeles, and finally Tulsa, where he was apprehended late Friday. The death of Morin in August drew wide attention. A mother of 5, she had gone for a walk on the Ma and Pa Heritage Trail, about 20 miles northeast of Baltimore, but did not return. Her car was found parked at the entrance, and her boyfriend reported her missing that night. "My heart is broken for the Morin family, as is our entire state," Maryland Governor Wes Moore, Democrat, said Sunday when asked about the case and Martinez Hernandez's past. "We know that we have got to fix a broken immigration policy, and we know that we need Congress to act on this," Moore said on CBS News' Face the Nation. An attorney representing the victim's family was even more pointed. "Americans keep dying because the politicians in Washington can't solve the problem," Randolph Rice said in an interview Sunday. "Rachel would be alive today if politicians would stop this flow of illegal immigrants." Law enforcement officials have also linked Martinez Hernandez to a home invasion assault in Los Angeles in March last year that left a 9-year-old girl and her mother injured. "If there are other victims, we want them to come forward," Rice said. Rice said Morin's mother and other family members did not want to comment over the weekend as they were still processing the developments. "They feel relief, a sense the worry that he is out there has gone away, and they can now move to the part of this guy being tried," Rice said. Tulsa police said that Martinez Hernandez was arrested Friday night. He remained at the Tulsa County Jail on Sunday, and has holds there from the Harford County Sheriff's Office and U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, according to online records. Jail records didn't list an attorney for Martinez Hernandez. Those records spelled his name as Victor Martinez Hernandez. The Harford County Sheriff's Office and the Tulsa Police Department spelled his name as Victor Antonio Martinez Hernandez. Officials at Immigration and Customs Enforcement and U.S. Customs and Border Protection could not be reached for comment Sunday. Galler, the Harford sheriff, said he expects Martinez Hernandez to be extradited to Maryland soon to face charges. "I never want him to leave Maryland again. I want him to die in the Maryland prison system," Galler said. Fairly early in the case, Harford investigators linked the August 5, 2023, killing of Morin with a potential suspect in Los Angeles. That was because DNA evidence from the scene along the Ma and Pa Heritage Trail matched the DNA collected from a home burglarized earlier in Los Angeles, on March 26, when a young girl and her mother were assaulted, officials said. A doorbell camera video released by officials showed a shirtless man exiting a Los Angeles home where the assault allegedly took place. And when the DNA evidence from Maryland was entered in the FBI's combined DNA index system, it matched that of the burglary and assault suspect in Los Angeles, officials said. At a news conference Saturday, Bill Del Bagno, the FBI special agent in charge of the Bureau's Baltimore field office, said that an investigative genetic genealogy team worked to identify the suspect, and that investigators went to El Salvador as part of the case. The case is the second homicide in 2 years in Harford.
Think about all they have been doing since these crimes started being committed. Okay, we know Rachel was murdered back in August of 2023. Old boy, Victor here, he came across the border into California in February of 2023, and look at all the havoc he has racked up. They went to El Salvador. Again, I feel horrible for families that are told, trust the process, because imagine if you know, Karma probably knows, Okie Bree probably knows, the way that Tulsa police react when they got a call from the FBI and said, "We have intel that says old Vic is in Tulsa. This is what he looks like." And how many other unsolved crimes do you think they're going to dig up using his DNA profile? Do you believe that, I say only in quotes, that he only fled El Salvador because he was wanted for the Big M down there and probably other crimes. Comes through California, assault, home invasion. Long way from California to Maryland. He gets to Maryland, he's sitting on the Ma and Pa Trail. Sitting there. He sees Rachel. And does the absolute unthinkable. Do you believe there's other crimes they're going to connect this garbage to? I do.
Committed by a person who had entered the country unlawfully, Gaylor said. It matched that of the burglary and assault suspect in Los Angeles, officials said. At a news conference Saturday, Bill Del Bagno, the FBI special agent in charge of the Bureau's Baltimore field office, said that an investigative genetic genealogy team worked to identify the suspect, and that investigators went to El Salvador as part of the case. The case is the second homicide in 2 years in Hartford committed by a person who had entered the country unlawfully, Gaylor said. He invoked larger immigration concerns, speaking directly to the White House and Congress. I want to now direct these comments to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue and to every member in both chambers of Congress, he said. We are 1,800 miles away here in Hartford County. We are 1,800 miles away from the southern border, and the American citizens are not safe because of failed immigration policies.
Scary AF. And don't forget, we have our own homegrown sickos we have to deal with. You really want to add more to what the police, state, county, town, federal have to deal with, and you want to bring more weirdos in? No, thank you. Ilyanka said probably a serial killer. We only know of 2 right now, and that was brazen on the trail. When I saw this, and he's sitting in a bar at 21st and Garnett in Tulsa, not going to say anything about the area. If you know, you know. I thought, how damn brazen. He knows what he's done. He knows he's here, in quotes, undocumented. It is brazen. What the hell? Oh, and what the hell here? Look at Angel P starting our week off with a smile. Look at that. If you have received a membership, thank Angel P. Get your umbrellas. Poor woman, poor 9-year-old in California, her poor mama. Wisp said, I don't mind legitimate immigrants who better our nation, but the criminals that come are the concern. That's it. That's it. Come on. Come on. But it's got to stop. Wasn't it, what was it, like 6-7 months ago? That's when so many people got mad at me. When the undocumented person escaped the jail in Pennsylvania. And then next thing you know, there's a nationwide manhunt looking for him. And I was like, he shouldn't have been here in the first place. You know how many people got pissed at me? And my response was copy and paste to every one of them. I said, then open up your house. Take care of it yourself. Thank you, Jules. If you received a Crime Lines and Lies membership, thank our girl, Jules. All right. Rewinding back a few months. This is walking the trail where Rachel went missing. And I will say this again. I cannot believe how well they did on this sketch. Because a lot of times I see these sketches and it almost looks like a damn 2-year-old with a pencil. I'm like, the hell's going on here? I can't even make out what this person is. Look at this. But they have a hat on him. Then look at this. It's almost friggin' identical. Wow. Just out minding her own business, taking a run, taking a jog. And Rachel was very athletic. Rachel knew how to get herself out of harm's way. She had been trained in a lot of stuff. I mean, she had been through kickboxing classes and everything, but she could not overtake him. Sick bastard.
This is where deputies found Rachel Morin's car, in this parking lot that people use to access the Ma and Pa Trail. Now her picture is on the historic sign marking the trail that once used to be an old rail line connecting Maryland to Pennsylvania. Investigators say the 37-year-old mom of 5 would come here often, walking or running on this trail with all its twists and turns. It is one that is packed with people running, walking, and cycling. People we've spoken to say that in the weeks since Rachel's murder, this place has actually thinned out a little bit because of that fear, and those still using it.
And that's something we talk about on this show quite a bit, is it's not, of course, the victim, Rachel. Her family, they've definitely been victimized. The family in California, the murder or murders in El Salvador. But the tentacles of these crimes are so far-reaching to where people that used to enjoy having fun on the trail, walking, jogging, hiking, they don't feel safe out there. When a community doesn't feel safe, that's horrible. Not that it's not horrible what happened to Rachel. It's beyond horrible.
Running, walking, and cycling. People we've spoken to say that in the weeks since Rachel's murder, this place has actually thinned out a little bit because of that fear, and those still using it have made changes to protect themselves.
Pepper spray, the whistles that you pull, another whistle to just carry with us in our fanny packs, have on our wrists, just so we're prepared in case we are walking alone.
About a mile in from the parking lot near this dark tunnel is where it's believed investigators found the mom's body. She was walking on August 5th around 6 in the evening when investigators say she was brutally attacked. Her body not found until the next day. It is not clear which way the suspect went. You have these woods over here, this trail that leads back to the parking lot, a highway, and then this tunnel behind us.
And after she was reported missing, of course, they found the car. The next day, they found her body. And social media was really looking at her boyfriend. Again, social media helps keep cases out, but they're not investigators. They don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Well, we know now what's going on behind the scenes because many high-level agencies were all over this. They had been to El Salvador. They had been tracking his ass, found him in Tulsa. And I can only imagine the hard-on that Tulsa's Special Investigations Unit got when they found out old Victor was in town. Good. I don't go to the 21st and Garnett area. All right, I saw the helicopters going over there. But no, I don't frequent over there. Get me in trouble with the people in 21st and Garnett. So yes, I mean, I was safe. It's just beyond scary that from February of 2023 until a couple of days ago, he's wandering around doing whatever he wants to do. What I want to know is, where was he getting his money? Who's funding him? Anyone have any idea? We hear it all the time. Follow the money, follow the money. Where was he getting his money? He had to eat. He had to get something to drink. He had to have a place to lay his head. He's got a haircut. He don't look like a barber to me. Where? Now, it is rumored that he has got some acquaintances that are part of the South Salvadorians. It's a gang down in El Salvador, and I'm sure I'm butchering that name. He also, at one point, delved around when he was young with something called the MS-13. Got to be kidding me. None of that sounds good. The only gangs I've ever been in were the damn Girl Scouts and a youth group in my Baptist church. These sick asses. And here this poor family has been through this. Look at that beautiful headstone. And besides the fact that social media kept saying the boyfriend had to do it, the boyfriend had to do it, the boyfriend had to do it. You've got to be kidding me. He wasn't anywhere around. He wasn't anywhere around. I talked about how some of the stuff he said was kind of weird. But it didn't strike me as he murdered her. Not that my opinion in these cases matters. And then there were some issues, with money they were raising and everything for her burial and her headstone. Well, that's the money that was donated. It's a beautiful headstone.
The family of murder victim Rachel Morin unveiled a headstone in her honor at St. John's Church Cemetery in Phoenix. The family hoping it will serve as a tribute to her enduring spirit. Meanwhile, investigators still trying to identify the suspect in this sketch. Take a look, believed to be Rachel's killer. She was murdered back in early August while jogging on the popular Ma and Pa Trail right in Bel Air.
I still can't get over the sketch. And mark my words, he targeted her because of her looks, in my opinion. I really do. He didn't pick someone like me that was sitting on a picnic bench with a 6-pack of Keystone Light. No. Talking about my cat. No. He got a hold of Rachel. He R'd her, M'd her, sick. Dadgummit. All right, let's get to what happened a few days ago. This is from our local news. KJRH, I've been hearing this every morning. They're going to have a huge update this afternoon. They have to take special care of him. They do, because he's under ICE protection. My husband had a theory. He said, I believe he knows more. Knows more people. He's going to have some intel. Robin Brown, you know it. She said another place that is scary, Brooks, is over on Admiral where the flea market is. Robin, you know what I'm talking about? When I said over at 21st and Garnett? I don't care if they're giving away stuff over there. Answer's no. No. Is it on your local news too, Robin? Because all they're talking about on KOTV right now is Victor and the heat. Victor, the heat, and don't mow afternoon. That's all they're talking about.
Now at 10, a significant development in a national investigation. Tulsa police have captured a suspect linked to multiple murders, including the tragic case of Rachel Morin in Maryland.
Just over 3 weeks ago, on May 20th, on what should have been Rachel's 38th birthday, and then a poetic coincidence, or perhaps in Rachel's own divine assistance, our investigators uncovered a lead that led us to this day. And on this day, I'm here to tell you, Rachel's murderer is no longer a free man.
Now hold on. I seem to miss this. Seems that our local reporting, Leanne Taylor, needs to get it together. He's been hanging around my area since May 20th? That's how long they know he's been around here? Hell, what's today? Today's the 17th? So this sick twist has been around here for almost a month? Oh, son of a bitch. Loma Gibson said, yep, he's in the cartel and has connections. That's the reason he's in a totally different cell. It's probably one of the drunk tanks they have down there at the David L. Moss. And he has ICE agents that are outside. He can't be around other prisoners. He can't be around, the regular criminals in Tulsa. And that forehead looks like a rhino's butthole. Are y'all looking at his forehead? I'm waiting for Jim Carrey to squeeze out of that. Good God. My goodness. That's just damn nasty.
The suspect is tied to multiple violent crimes across the country, including a brutal home invasion in Los Angeles. The arrest could be the key to solve.
Okay, so he was at Los Dos Amigos Sports Bar over at 21st and Garnett. Now, I'm not going to say anything about the construction remodeling people that hang around there, but I do understand their painting, privacy fence, lawn service, tree trimming, framing, metal framing, concrete, all that stuff that they do is actually top notch.
Numerous unsolved cases. We have the very latest details on this dramatic development. 2 News Oklahoma at 10 starts now.
2 News Oklahoma starts right now.
Good evening, and thank you so much for staying up with us on 2 News Oklahoma at 10. I'm Sharon Phillips. Tonight, we are diving directly into the pressing news of the hour, the consequential arrest of a man with ties to numerous murders across the country by the Tulsa Police Department. For more on this developing story, we turn to our reporter, Braden Bates, with the very latest on the arrest and the investigation.
A months-long search for a man suspected of multiple murders has come to an end. The Tulsa Police Department arrested Victor Antonio Martinez Hernandez at a Tulsa bar on June 14th.
Okay, I don't know if Karma heard this on her local news or Robin or Okie Bree, but TPD was pretty pissed when they were given instructions by the feds that they need him alive. Now, when TPD shows up and they're already putting up crime tape before they've even arrested somebody, everyone in the bar is fucked, okay? They are. Because remember, they found somebody else in the bar that's not supposed to be here.
Man suspected of multiple murders has come to an end. The Tulsa Police Department arrested Victor Antonio Martinez Hernandez at a Tulsa bar on June 14th.
But he is stopped, he's in jail, and he's going to go and have his day in court in Maryland.
In a Facebook post, TPD says they were tipped off to 23-year-old Victor Hernandez's location by agents with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. It was at this sports bar near 21st and Garnett where Tulsa police tracked down Hernandez and arrested him.
How? I will never know how they found him over there. They've obviously been working on it since, as we heard in this newscast, since May 20th. Astro, what are his charges? Murder, rape, being here illegally, assault, home invasion. Jamie said, I heard he was trespassing. No, you cannot trespass at a bar in Oklahoma. They're more than happy to have you. But he was trespassing in another way.
According to TPD, Hernandez illegally came to the United States after being wanted for murder in El Salvador. That's when he ended up in Los Angeles. TPD says Hernandez allegedly violently assaulted a 9-year-old girl and her mother during a home invasion there. In August, police said Harford County, Maryland resident Rachel Morin was walking the popular Ma and Pa trail when she went missing. The mother of 5's body was discovered just off the trail. After that discovery, the Harford County Sheriff's Office held a news conference.
While it was all of our hope, certainly mine and everyone standing up here with me, and the men and women of our office and all of our citizens, that Rachel would be found safe, at about 1:07 p.m., a citizen called 911 to report a female's body had been located off the trail.
Over the past several months, a variety of law enforcement agencies, federal and state, have looked for Hernandez, but TPD was the one that made the arrest.
He fled there, came to Tulsa, and again, last night, officers of the Tulsa Police Department, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, found him, put him in custody, and he's sitting over there in Tulsa County right now, awaiting extradition.
Hernandez is charged with first-degree murder and first-degree rape in Harford County. Authorities say he will be extradited back to Maryland.
I guarantee Governor Stitt don't want that. He probably does not want that. Facts, Chopper, they don't play around here. On one hand, it's almost like there's no friggin' laws in Oklahoma at all. Did any of you watch that show, Tulsa King, with Sylvester Stallone? He was on Jimmy Fallon one night. Jimmy Fallon said something to him about some law or something crazy you do. And he goes, that would probably be against the law. He said, even in Oklahoma. Because Sylvester Stallone was loving it. He was like, damn. But it's like, on one hand, you can do anything. But on the other hand, they're like, no. Let's not take advantage of the liberties, please. We're going to go through the press conference. Because these old boys and ladies in Maryland, they have been living and breathing this for quite some time. They have become very close to the family. They wanted him bad.
Good afternoon. I'm Christy Hopkins, Director of Media and Public Relations for the Harford County Sheriff's Office. I thank each of you for joining us today as Sheriff Gaylor announces long-awaited and much-anticipated updates in the murder investigation of Rachel Morin. Standing and offering remarks with the sheriff are Bill DeBagno, Special Agent in Charge, FBI, Baltimore Field Office. Evan Campanella, Assistant Special Agent in Charge, HSI, Baltimore Field Office. Allison Healy, Harford County State's Attorney. Also in attendance are Colonel William Davis, Chief Deputy, Harford County Sheriff's Office. Sergeant Christopher Maddox, Criminal Investigations Division, Harford County Sheriff's Office. David Hughes, Deputy Chief, Bel Air Police Department. John Cook, Chief of Staff, Washington, Baltimore, HIDA. Patrick Vincenti, President of the Harford County Council, and members of Rachel's family. After Ms. Healy concludes her remarks, Patty Morin, Rachel's mom, will offer a few remarks as well. She will not be taking questions today. We know that you have many questions for all of us. Please keep in mind that we will try to answer as many as we can, but this investigation is still ongoing, and there are some details we cannot discuss at this time. Again, thank you for joining us, taking your time and dedication to telling Rachel's story. And with that, Sheriff Gaylor.
Thanks, Christy. Good afternoon, everybody. As Christy said, I'm Harford County Sheriff Jeff Gaylor. As everyone's aware, on August 6, 2023, our peaceful Harford County community was rocked when the body of Rachel Morin was discovered in an area just about a mile from here, just off the Ma and Pa hiking trail here just outside the town of Bel Air. In addition to the impact to our local Harford County community, Rachel's murder gained national and even international attention. The young mother of 5, whose life was violently taken in a public location, is one of the safest places in the state. It's not supposed to happen, and it shouldn't have happened. In the days and months since Rachel was murdered, Rachel's family and friends, our Harford County community, and the men and women of the Harford County Sheriff's Office, along.
Question is, and it's a beautiful area where Rachel was horrifically R'd and M'd. How did he get there? El Salvador, he comes through California. Horrible assault and home invasion in California. Again, it's a long way from California to Maryland. How did he get there? How did he get there? Who's funding him? He has to have money. He has to have money. If he got on a bus, there's no free bus rides. My goodness.
With all of our allied partners, have worked tirelessly to bring the individual responsible for her death to justice. Our deputies and our partners have worked this case with persistence and passion for Rachel and for her family every day over the past 10 months. Just over 3 weeks ago, on May 20th, on what should have been Rachel's 38th birthday, and in a poetic coincidence, or perhaps in Rachel's own divine assistance, our investigators uncovered a lead that led us to this day. And on this day, I'm here to tell you, Rachel's murderer is no longer a free man. Hopefully, he will never have the opportunity to walk free again. The lead we received was related to DNA evidence and allowed investigators to finally put a name to the image of the suspect in the video from Los Angeles, which we released 2 weeks after Rachel's death. After we had the video, we knew what he looked like. We knew what he looked like, but we didn't know who he was. With the new DNA evidence, now we know who he is, but we still didn't know where he was. As I have stated many times, this killer could have been laying his head in any community in the country or even in the world, and indeed, that was completely accurate. Over the past 2 weeks, investigators continued their diligent investigation and tracked our suspect all the way from Prince George's County to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Our investigators also obtained an arrest warrant yesterday afternoon, and as the arrest warrant was being issued, we met with Rachel's family, many of whom are with us today, to update them on the case and asked of them an almost impossible request, and that was to keep the information about the identity and the arrest warrant to themselves and protected to allow investigators the opportunity to try to apprehend this suspect before it was made public in the news, so that our suspect did not have the opportunity to learn that he was wanted and to once again flee.
You know, I love it when families work and listen to law enforcement. And that's the reason they're trusted. And they can, I say, put their mind at ease, as if there's such a thing when your beautiful daughter and mother of your grandchildren has been murdered. And so for them to be sitting on this information, and it's happened in other cases, and they're like, and they kept it to themselves. They knew that we knew where he was at. We have an arrest warrant, and this nightmare is going to be over. if it can ever be over, if you think about it. We see other cases where family members want to talk and talk and talk and talk, which I get it. I get it because sometimes just the talking and rehashing and I know more makes them feel better. Well, it doesn't help the investigation. So amazing work by Rachel's family that they trusted the agencies involved and will get their justice if there is such a thing, because they won't get Rachel back. And the fact that so many huge news outlets, and some of them I was not expecting, are calling out Congress, Senate, Pennsylvania Avenue, you name it. I'm shocked by that. I figured they would sweep this under the rug. Nope. No can do.
5 hours after meeting with the family and just before midnight our time, police in Tulsa, Oklahoma, assisted by our federal partners, located and arrested Rachel's murderer, Victor Antonio Martinez Hernandez. So far, we have learned that the suspect, now pictured on the screens, is a 23-year-old citizen of El Salvador who illegally crossed the border into the United States in February of 2023. We all suspected that perhaps Rachel was not his first victim. And it's my understanding that this suspect, this monster, fled to the United States illegally after committing the brutal murder of a young woman in El Salvador a month early in January of 2023. Once in our country, and likely emboldened by his anonymity, he brutally attacked a 9-year-old girl and her mother during a home invasion in March of 2023 in Los Angeles. And as everyone I believe is aware, that was our first DNA match linking Rachel's case to the Los Angeles case. It has been a fear of mine that once we identified this suspect, the result would be exactly this. And I want to now direct these comments to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue and to every member in both chambers of Congress. We are 1,800 miles away here in Harford County. We are 1,800 miles away from the southern border, and the American citizens are not safe because of failed immigration policies. This is the second time in just 2 years that an innocent Harford County woman has lost her life to a criminal in our country illegally. Let me repeat that. 1,800 miles from the southern border, and this is the second woman in our county to be killed by an illegal alien. Suspects, in both cases, they are suspects from El Salvador with ties to criminal gangs. Should not be happening. Victor Hernandez did not come here to make a better life for himself or for his family. He came here to escape the crime he committed in El Salvador. He came here and murdered Rachel, and God willing, no one else. But that should have never been allowed to happen. Moving on, I want to make it clear that this case does not get solved, and we do not bring this criminal to justice without the amazing law enforcement teamwork from our local, state, and federal partners. And I mean that in all sincerity. Rachel's homicide does not get solved. There is no arrest without all of us working together. And for that, I want to thank everyone here in the front of the room and all those who aren't here, but I'm going to cover a list in a minute. I want to thank all of them for their assistance to our agency over the past 10 months. We are profoundly grateful for your dedication and support. The Federal Bureau of Investigation, especially the Baltimore Field Office, rendered invaluable assistance throughout the course of the investigation. Similarly, the State Police, Maryland State Police Crime Laboratory contributed greatly with their expertise and resources. I must also say thank you to the Los Angeles Police Department, the Department of Homeland Security, Naval Criminal Investigative Services, the Maryland State Police Bel Air Barrack, the U.S. Marshals Service Fugitive Task Force, the Harford County State's Attorney's Office, the Maryland Department of Natural Resources Police, the Bel Air Police Department, Maryland Coordination and Analysis Center, the Baltimore Washington HIDA.
Okay, while he's going through all this, I've seen a few comments in here about sanctuary cities. Well, look where they're at. They're in states where people are getting out of that state to go have a calm life where they can afford things. But they have to keep the population up or they lose their electoral votes. So they're like, come on in. Come on in. You know who wrings their hands when they do that? And these people, and not all of them, please do not think I'm putting everybody in the same box. The community, law enforcement, next thing you know, and it's not just the people that have been bussed in, it's our own homegrown sickos that say, well, hell, now they got too much to do. I can do whatever I want to do. Hell yeah.
The Tulsa, Oklahoma Police Department, El Salvadorian authorities, and the many law enforcement agencies, both state and local, who provided invaluable assistance to the Harford County Sheriff's Office during this investigation. As I think is evident, this was truly a comprehensive law enforcement effort, and I am exceptionally proud of the work done by the collective team and countless others who made last night's arrest in Tulsa possible. I also want to thank the members of our Harford County community for their patience, support, and cooperation throughout this investigation, to include hundreds upon hundreds of tips that our investigators have received. Today, we were able to provide what some like to refer to as closure to Rachel's family and for our Harford County community. I want to thank the members of the Morin family, and you're going to hear from, as Christy said, from Patricia here in a minute, but no questions.
I'm going to tell you what, this man that we've been listening to here, he has got some brass gonads because everyone has someone to answer to. I don't care who you are. Everyone has someone to answer to. And for him to make the statements he's making, you know, this man up here in different groups is being called a racist. A racist. How can you call him a racist when he's saying we had to chase this dude all over the damn country? We've been scared shitless in our own community in case he comes back. I tell you what, we have a lot of simple-minded people out there. A lot. I kind of feel bad for him in a way. We see him in comments all the time. It's a wonder my eyes aren't permanently rolled back.
They have been by the side of our detectives this entire time.
First victims first. Guess who else is called a racist? Grady Judd. It's a wonder that man doesn't have to have his own protection with him. The sheriff of Tulsa County has been accused of that. It's like, does it matter? What? I mean, drives me nuts. Friggin' virtue signalers. Gotta be right on the internet. Listen to me, look at me, look at me, look at me, pick me. They're ridiculous.
Doing anything that they could do to help the investigation and to help our detectives. to help bring this individual that took Rachel's life to justice. I recognize there is nothing that will ever close the door or bring true closure concerning the loss of Rachel, but it is my hope and the hope of all involved working this case that the arrest of this suspect brings her family and our Harford County community some peace. I would like to now ask FBI Baltimore Field Office Special Agent in Charge, William Debano, did I get it right? Debano, to offer a few remarks. Yes.
Thank you, Sheriff Gaylor. Good afternoon. My name is Bill Del Bagno. I'm the Special Agent in Charge of the FBI Baltimore Field Office. Today, our focus remains on Rachel, bringing justice for her, finding answers for her family and loved ones, and making sure the violent criminal who so viciously took her life cannot harm anyone else. The FBI is proud to stand united with our partners in the Harford County Sheriff's Office as we announce this arrest. We know nothing can take away the pain and the anguish Rachel's family and friends have endured. Please know, on behalf of the FBI, our hearts are with you. To the public, keeping our community safe is one of the FBI's highest priorities, and so are the invaluable partnerships required to accomplish this. During the investigation, here's what I can share from the FBI. Our investigative genetic genealogy team in Baltimore worked countless hours to identify the suspect by using crime scene DNA and tracing that DNA to potential family members. Investigators even traveled to El Salvador as part of their efforts to identify this killer. To find the suspect, we've provided technical assistance, helping to pinpoint his location. And that brings us to last night, where Tulsa police and FBI agents were able to successfully apprehend and arrest the suspect in Oklahoma. Harford County and the investigators on this case worked every angle, tirelessly and constantly, never giving up and following every lead and piece of evidence. We thank Harford County for their partnership and bringing us into the investigation. As Sheriff Gaylor outlined, we thank everyone who helped make this arrest possible. To all those who have been waiting for an arrest to be made, for answers, we hope this brings a sense of justice and some peace. The FBI vows to continue to work every day to keep our community safe and prioritize the partnerships so vital to doing that. Thank you. I will now turn it over to Evan Campanella, the Deputy Special Agent in Charge, HSI, Baltimore.
Thank you, Sec Del Bagno. First off, I would like to thank Sheriff Gaylor for having HSI present for today's announcement. Today's announcement is the culmination of almost 1 year of investigative activity that might not always go noticed by the public. This investigation highlights the cooperation and the collaboration HSI has with its state and local and federal partners. And I'm happy to be here today with Sheriff Gaylor and our partners to announce the arrest of Mr. Martinez Hernandez. I hope that today's announcement, as the sheriff pointed out, will help bring some closure to Rachel's family. And again, I would like to thank Sheriff Gaylor for asking HSI to participate in this investigation and to be here for today's announcement. I would now like to invite Harford County State's Attorney, Allison Healy, to the podium for her remarks.
Good afternoon. I want to commend the Harford County Sheriff's Office and other assisting agencies on the hard work, expertise, and diligence identifying and apprehending the suspect in the murder of Rachel Morin. They worked tirelessly on this lengthy and difficult investigation for the public safety of our community and bringing Rachel's family peace, knowing that the next step is prosecution. I will personally be leading the prosecution of this case. While the defendant is innocent until and unless he is proven guilty, Harford County and our neighboring communities can rest assured that my office will take all steps necessary to ensure that justice is served for Rachel Morin and her family. We have already begun coordinating with the Warrant Apprehension Unit of the Harford County Sheriff's Office to handle the extradition of the defendant to Harford County. And once the defendant has been transported back to Harford County, prosecution will commence. Thank you.
Now, I have no idea how they're going to get his sorry ass from Tulsa to Maryland. Is it going to be a Con Air type of thing? Are they going to drive him? But he is one scary dude. He is one scary dude, and he was trained to be that way from a young age.
It is my pleasure to introduce to you all Patricia Morin.
I'm going to make.
Okay. This right here is Rachel's mama. You might as well go ahead and get your tissues because she breaks my heart. Okay, she does. Now, if the rumors serve us correctly, she is one of other family members that are suing the federal government for what happened to her daughter. This is going to be a lawsuit we're never going to hear about. It's going to be paid out. They're going to sign paperwork and say, there you go. That's what you get. And from here on out, STFU. This is the only way you're going to get that money. Better not see your ass on the Today Show talking to Hoda and Savannah. Better not see you on any news station. You sign this, you're going to get the money.
Make this really short because I'm very emotional. I just want to take this time to thank all of the law enforcement for all their hard work. I know that a lot of times we don't see what goes on behind the scenes. You know, you see the policeman in the car when you write you a ticket, but you don't see the real work that happens behind. And around Christmas time, we did a canvassing with Harford County, thank you. And they brought us into a room and I could see all the people that were involved. And that's not even all the external agencies that were involved. And it just gave me such hope that they really did care about our family and my daughter, that they were going to work diligently to find the person that murdered her. At one point, when things seemed like really bleak and hopeless, the lead detective said to me, he said, patience will win in the end. And that's what they've been doing. They've been diligently working very hard, and they've been patiently working through all the leads. And it's because of that that we have an arrest today. So I'm very thankful and just very grateful to these men. And I'm also very grateful to the press because you kept her story alive so that people would still continue to send in tips. And that helped them to do their job. So I want to thank the press as well. But I don't know if this is, oops, sorry about that. I don't know if this is kosher or not. I'm going to step away from the pulpit. But I think we should applaud them just because I am so grateful that they have brought us to this place. Because at some of the points during this, I didn't think that we were ever going to have an end, that it was going to be a cold case. So I would like to applaud them.
considering the times that we live in, to have a mama come out and say, I want to applaud them. I have trusted them. You know, like she said, when we see someone pulled over on the side of the road, you know, you see the lights flashing. We're like, uh-oh, what'd they do? Boy, that's a bad day. Expired tag, illegally changing lanes. What's going on? Speeding. You know, we can clearly see something's going on. But she's like, behind the scenes, so many agencies. She took it better than me, because if the lead detective had told me, just be patient, I'd have lost my damn mind. But we've heard that in so many other cases where, you know, law enforcement says, we're getting there. I'm telling you, we are. By the way, I put the link in if anybody wants to come up. Hello, Annie Rundown.
Thank you. And it's a case that touched us all. So with that, we are going to take some questions. As Christy said, this is still an active investigation. So there's some things that we're not free to speak about or won't be speaking about. So with that, does anybody have any questions that we can answer for any of the speakers?
I have a question. I want to know if you can, and I know you kind of went into it a little bit, but what actually happens with him right now? I feel like we've read an ICE hold. I don't know if you're familiar with that term, or people kind of
I'm very familiar with ICE detainers.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not sure.
Yes, we are a.
What's the status?
There has been an ICE detainer filed on him because he is in this country illegally out in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He would not be deported before answering for these charges. So I honestly believe that's the last place he wants to go. I think, you know, a sad statement is our jails are better here than they are in El Salvador. And he's going to spend, God willing, the rest of his days behind bars.
You know what would happen if they extradited him back to El Salvador? Well, it could go one way or another. They'd lose him, and he'd do something else, or, God, he wouldn't go through the process. Let me put it that way. And to answer Astro's question, that saying that family in California gave him a handshake and let him go out the door, that's actually not true. Authorities had this information. They just couldn't find him. If you remember a press conference by Grady Judd that was really upset with a certain law agency in California, and he said that they didn't do anything with this guy who had made his way from California to Florida. He was like, but, you know, here we're going to. And I'm not picking on California. I'm just saying that's what happened.
El Salvador, LA, here, to County, apparently, Tulsa.
Investigators are still working. I mean, he worked a few odd jobs that we are familiar with. Did not live a very, you know, expensive lifestyle. But this is a free country. You know, you can, once you're in it, you can move from one jurisdiction to the next, you know, very freely. And he did that from El Salvador into the United States to Los Angeles, unfortunately here to Harford County. And again, down in Prince George's County, we had him in the Virginia area, and then all the way out to Tulsa, Oklahoma. And in the year he's been in the country, a little year plus, who knows where else he's been. And it's a fear of mine. It's a fear of our investigators. And as Patty said, you know, our investigators took this case to heart, as they do all the cases. But this case, they took to heart, and they worked so hard and have an emotional tie to it that I got off on a tangent. That they, I lost my train of thought.
Does he have connections to any of these areas?
Investigators are working that. We certainly know he has connections down in the D.C. area, both Virginia and Prince George's County. But again, as he moved around the country, there were places that we believe he probably had associates, and he has ties to known gangs. So we believe that's how he lived his life.
How do these gang members make friends so fast? My goodness. All right, so we know he had connections in El Salvador with this Salvadorians. Okay. MS-13. You would think these two gangs don't get along, but he's a friendly dude with these people. Then he meets gangs here. How about shit and fell back in it? He's doing odd jobs. Met other people that are in gangs around here. I mean, is there an app for that? You've got to be kidding me.
That's where I was going before. We fear all the time, the investigators fear that we're going to stumble across another crime that just hasn't been tied back through DNA or some other science or electronic, tie, that the evidence just hasn't reached the point where we get a hit. But right now, what we're familiar with is the crime in Los Angeles, the home invasion in March of 2023, the homicide here of Rachel in August of 2023. And I believe in Tulsa, he's facing some local charges as well for last night. I think trespassing or disorderly or something to that effect. We're not familiar with any other. I'm not familiar with any other charges. No, in El Salvador, there is a what's called a red notice. A red notice, which is basically an Interpol warrant for his arrest to bring him back there to stand for the homicide of the woman in that case down there. Well, and I gotta defer to our partners at the FBI on that one because they did most of the international.
Thanks, Sharon. So the FBI has personnel that are positioned throughout the world. They're called legal attaches. And we have a legal attache that is in El Salvador.
Okay, I want to address this comment from our friend Annie. She said, now let me tell you something. I am Mexican. I am legal here in the U.S. We work so hard to do the things right. Unfortunately, many people like him make us look bad. People here think all Hispanic or Mexican. Please do not get it confused. We love our friend Annie. And there are some ignorant people out there that think if they see anyone, I don't care if they just look a little different, that they're illegal. They're illegal. Annie's a good woman with a wonderful family. And it hurts my heart that people are so damn ignorant. Annie said, oh, I know, but it's true. They do. They do. Remember after 9/11? Hell, I mean, anybody that looked tanned up, you had all these ignorant ass people that were like, oh man, they're after me again. And some of my good friends, people that I know that are Hispanic. One is my ex-sister-in-law. She came from Mexico City. She absolutely hates people coming illegally. She hates it. It makes her so damn mad. She's like, here I get a degree. I come here. I do this. I get married. And I've jumped through every hoop. And then these people show up on the news and make me look horrible. But she's a wonderful person.
As we were conducting some of the investigative actions along with Harford County, some of the investigative information took us to El Salvador and working with our partners there in order to understand some of the familial ties that are down there, and also bring together back a better understanding of the red notice that Sheriff Gaylor brought up as well.
Do you know anything about the victim in El Salvador? Is that something you knew, or is it random?
I don't have any information on that.
Can you go into detail how he was arrested in Tulsa? Was it a traffic stop? Was it something that happened?
As I understand it, there was about, I don't know how many hours they're behind, 2, 3, Tulsa. So it was midnight our time, and he was hanging out at a business park or a storefront, and the police encountered him, and apparently there's a charge of, we say trespassing, and he was identified during that arrest and processing.
Any idea of a motive here, or this was just completely random?
Well, that's been a question since the outset. You know, was Rachel's homicide random or targeted? And again, I don't know that we have that answer explicitly or completely. But at this point, there's nothing to indicate that anyone other than him was involved.
And let me explain the quote unquote trespassing in there. TPD, anyone that's familiar with it, Tulsa Police Department, they have a different way of doing things. So if they already know that they have made contact with someone like Victor, and Victor is not cooperating, they can do something as simple as, say, ask him to leave. He says no, and they're like, well, you're trespassing. He'd been sitting in that bar for hours. That would have been at 11 o'clock their time when they got the call. We're only an hour behind them. So midnight their time would be 11 o'clock our time. Thank you again, Kimberly Mann, for the Crime Lines and Laws memberships. Me love you long time.
We do have some belief that he spent some time here in the Bel Air area, so he may have seen her and her more or less routine operations. One of the things that we caution people, particularly women on the trail, about doing was developing a routine where it can be predicted where you might be. That would be my suspicion. If he decides to talk throughout the course of the days ahead to either investigators or prosecutors as it moves to that stage, we may learn more about, was it just an opportunity because he was on the trail when, you know, unfortunately she decided to.
Have to interrupt again. Let me get my glasses. Matter of fact, I got new glasses over the weekend. Court K sent me some new readers for my birthday. Annie said, thank y'all. I love you all. I don't mean any of you guys. It makes me mad that people like him come to do things like that instead of having respect for a country that we should have respect for. Annie, you are 100 times more American than some of these damn deadbeats that do nothing but whine, bitch, and complain. I'm telling you, you are. You are amazing. I can't tell you how many people have come to this country to build businesses, buy homes. We had a friend, Uber driver. He was from Honduras. Super nice guy. Super great family. He would take videos of himself at the grocery store, showing his family back home in Honduras that he could buy anything he wants. Made me feel about an inch tall, if you want to know the truth, that he was so happy that he could buy anything he wants. And the crimes against women and children, and especially some areas, woo, I wish I had the answer. Well, I probably do, but they don't listen to me.
To go out exercising that day, or was it something more specific? As to the motive, we've been tight-lipped, I guess, about it. The charges in the case are first-degree murder and first-degree rape. And as the colonel just reminded me to say, we do have right now in the air, we have sent investigators to Tulsa, Oklahoma, to follow up on many things related to this investigation. It's very active and ongoing, as I said. He will be extradited here eventually, and that will be done. That process has already been initiated, but it could take, as I understand, to the state's attorney, 10 to 30 days. 10 days if he doesn't fight it. 30 days if he decides to fight it, but he will be extradited. 30 to 60.
I want to ask about genetic genealogy. So it sounds like it. Yeah.
Now, if I can believe what I read on the internet and not by people on Facebook that want to play Facebook lawyer, they're saying that the feds can actually pick this up, and it doesn't matter where he sits. Okay. If he sits in Tulsa for 30 days or they move his ass to Maryland, I don't know. But they're saying that the feds can actually pick this up. And since Maryland doesn't utilize the death penalty, I'm not picking on Maryland, the feds can actually say, we got it, and we're going to ship him down to wherever, Terre Haute, Indiana, or wherever, and we're going to take care of him that way.
I'm not really sure if we really hear of that so often with cases, like cracking cases, especially ones that we've been working so hard to figure out. So can you kind of just walk us through how that played a role? Seems pretty major.
Absolutely. So I think a lot of folks know genetic genealogy or investigative genetic genealogy in some of the cold cases, and certainly has gotten a lot of attention from the Golden State Killer, and since then a lot of investigations on the cold case side. I think folks should also know that we prioritize the violent crime cases that are current, and that this is an game-changing investigative tool to understand when there are dry holes and there's no other leads to go, that we can apply the investigative genealogy to identify potentially family members, and then in doing that, take it on to a step where Harford County and our partners can conduct interviews to better understand who the potential subjects are and narrow down that scope. We also use it on, unfortunately, the victim side when we can't identify a victim through any other means, and building out the cases that way. We've seen over time 130 cases thus far since 2018 that have had successfully used investigative genetic genealogy.
There's no traffic. There's no traffic stuff. Well, he was encountered by the police and the agents for the FBI who were out there looking for him. So they had an idea of where he was. But I know that from that encounter, there's also a local charge of trespassing, not in a vehicle. He was apparently at that business, I guess, unwantedly so. He was. We already had the name. We had the arrest warrant. So when they encountered him, they knew he was wanted. So he was picked up for that. Yeah.
With the innovation in California, will he be taken in charge there? Does this take precedent? How does?
Oh, certainly this is the more serious, the loss of life. California will follow up on their investigation. They would have to direct questions to that police. It's LAPD that is handling that as far as specifics to their investigation. But certainly we have been in communication. Our investigators have been in communication with theirs. They are aware that we identified the suspect here, and by identifying our suspect, we have their suspect, they have their suspect, and they can move forward on charges. They would also file an arrest warrant on file. So, I never want him to leave Maryland again. I want him to die in a Maryland jail, Maryland prison system. We don't have the death penalty. So I just hope he spends the rest of his days there. But if he ever got out of this one, he would be.
I'm going to guess if this wonderful, wonderful man who has worked so hard with other agencies, if I could guess, I don't know him, never talked to him, I would guess that he would want Maryland to have the death penalty. Maria, she said, "Oh my Brooks, I'm so sad to see the misrepresentation of immigrants done by these criminals." You're exactly right. Exactly. Our beloved country, USA, has been built in part with the help of generations of immigrants. Exactly. Exactly. And like I said earlier in the show, I'm going to repeat it right now. Quit letting bad people come over. Do a better job vetting. My goodness. It's harder to get a job at damn Walmart than it is to come across the border. We have our own sickos around here that the police have to deal with. And Maria, don't let anyone, you, Annie, anyone else that has come to this country get lumped in with that. Do not, because you're nothing like them. And like I said to Annie a few minutes ago, you're more American than some of these people you see at the damn Walmart in their pajama pants. You entitled pieces of shit. Have everything customers. I get so sick of listening to them. They're the first ones in line with their damn handout. You don't even want to, oh, God.
Sent extradited to California. And if you got out of that one, there's still the red folder, the red notice, where El Salvador would want him back, and ICE has marked him for detainer. So he would go back there to face those charges. I do not know. No. I see the major in the back is shaking his head. No, he does not. And again, we shared the picture. You all will have the picture. It's going to be, no doubt out there on social media. So we're still looking for information. He was in this area for at least some period of time. And when I say the area, he was in the Bel Air area for some period of time before or right after the homicide, or both. So if people still have information, and now that there's a name to put with the face, investigators still want to talk to you. We still want to know. We still want to build that timeline, because there is a case to prosecute, and we want to put all the pieces together so that Ms. Healy can do her job most successfully, and again, ensure this guy never sees the light of day.
This guy never sees the light of day. I want to say real quick, thank you so much before I get back to the rest of the show for, you guys being so understanding, and we're all together to talk about an obvious problem. And it's on both sides of the aisle. Now, there's a couple of states that are a little bit more responsible for it, because they're laying off Border Patrol. They don't want them. Some of these states are the ones that are saying defund the police. Well, where does that leave the common citizen? Where does it leave them? If you've got some dude from MS-13 breaking into your house, who do you want to show up? Someone with a pew-pew that knows how to use it in handcuffs, or a social worker? It's ridiculous. And let me tell you a story. I'm sure some of you know this has happened to you too. In 2015, because at the time I didn't have health insurance, I was fined for not having health insurance. $88. $88 I'll never get back. And now people like Victor get it for free. So my $88 times whatever paid for Victor? A little upset about that. I've got stuff I need to get at Tractor Supply with that $88. You want to let, criminals in? And no, I'm not talking about Annie. No, I'm not talking about Maria. No, I'm not talking about anyone that is here doing the right thing. It's ridiculous. And then, as if I'm not on enough of a roll, this happened over the weekend.
Agents with Federal Immigration and Customs Enforcement have arrested 8 people with suspected ties to ISIS. Officials tell CBS News the individuals were from Tajikistan and were arrested in New York, Philadelphia, and Los Angeles.
We got ISIS back? I thought ISIS was done and over. Thought that shit was taken care of by 2017. Guess who's back? Back again. ISIS back. Tell a friend. That's what happens when these people that wear their feelings on their damn shirt sleeve are running shit.
They allegedly crossed the U.S.-Mexico border last year and this year. Back in April, FBI Director Christopher Wray warned of human smuggling operations at the border that could bring in people with potential connections to terror groups. Our Errol Barnett joins us now. Errol, what do we know more than those bare bones I've just given people?
Well, John, all of this breaking this afternoon, and it is apparently the success of an effort by ICE, that's Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, the FBI, the Department of Justice, as part of this heightened threat environment. As far as we understand, these 8 men from Tajikistan, this is a Central Asian nation, came into the U.S. both this year and last year via the southern border. And as far as the available information we have access to, they were permitted to enter the United States. And
you know what? If I left America and decided, oh, you know what? It wasn't so bad over there. I think I'm going to go back. Hell, they probably wouldn't let me in. You know why? Because in 2013, I threw a pop can out of my window during a burn ban after I got done at the tanning salon. That pop can blew up on me as I was going over the dam in Oologah, Oklahoma. I got to the other side and I got a ticket. And because it was during a burn ban, they gave me a misdemeanor. Hell, I probably wouldn't get in because I'm a criminal. Yeah, I threw a pop can out the window. Sons of bitches. But old Vic got to do whatever he wanted to do.
were here legally. However, officials had reason to continue to follow and investigate them, which led them to put wiretaps on their phones. And what we understand over the past few weeks, those wiretaps picked up key information, no active plot, but information that caused concern among U.S. officials that led them to coordinate this nationwide effort to detain all 8 of them, both in Los Angeles, here in New York, and in Philadelphia. At this moment, they are detained and have been charged with immigration offenses and are waiting extradition back to Tajikistan. But it's an effort by the U.S. government to
Stupid. What are you doing? Sending them back to Tajikistan. Keep them here. You're crazy. Oh, we're going to send them back for what? For them to come back? Crazy. These are criminals. Sure, we're going to send them back to get trained again. Ridiculous. All right, let's have some team building, get in a better mood. I'm going to get off my soapbox.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again. just my children and my wife. Thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA. There's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Well, I'm so glad that you guys were all here and that we could all come together and have a conversation, because I was sweating this one. I was just waiting. I was waiting on people to roll in and say, "How dare you, Brooks? Brooks, you did it again. What do you want next? Jennifer Lopez to be deported? Hell, you'd put a 3-year-old in jail if you could, Brooks. You think you know everything." But it's okay. We still haven't had the after show comments. But I know you guys are always here for the right reasons. And hey, my favorite people to be around at 9 a.m. every morning. OJ, who actually is racist, didn't even raise hell today. I'm telling you. OJ doesn't like white people, black people, Hispanic people. Don't even think about someone dropping off Chinese food. OJ doesn't like shit. And if he'd get a hold of those pit bulls next door, he'd do it. Yeah. Everybody looking at me, they haven't even met OJ. Yeah. All you have to do, he is racist against anyone that doesn't give him treats, rub his head, or anything. We've got a new problem with OJ, though, because if his food gets down, by a minuscule, he'll just sit there and look at you like, "You gave me that food like 2 hours ago. I'm not going to eat that." So I have to dump it out, wash his bowl, and get him new food. And it's that time of year where he has to have ice in his water. Yeah. And he's on strike, man. He's not going to farm today. He doesn't even understand what we have going on today. We got a big project this afternoon when I get done working. and he's not going to be happy. But I'm happy that you guys were all here, and I thank you so much for being here. It's a difficult subject, but I'm so glad that we all came together. Give each other a hug, be kind, love each other, and I'll see you back here at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, because I have a lot of stuff I need to talk about with the case of little Maya that was found under debris, drugs, and the whole 9 yards in Kentucky. Little baby. You guys are going to be fired up about this tomorrow. You're the absolute best. Love you. Love you, Mod Squad. And let's just keep going.